Watercress, and Watercress once again. What's up, 23% Nation? This is your man, Coach D. Today, I'm back with Vegetable of the Day, the one and only watercress. So maybe, just maybe, you've never heard of this vegetable before. Maybe, just maybe, you eat it all day, every day. Well, guys, whatever the case may be, please listen and watch on. Why? Because we're about to dive just a little deeper into the wonderful world of watercress. All right, first up, a little bit of background information. So here's a very popular question. What in the world is watercress? I mean, after all, Coach D, I've never heard of it before. Well, guys, if that's your question, then let's do a deep dive. Watercress is a cruciferous vegetable, just like broccoli, just like cabbage, and just like kale, that is so good for you that the Centers of Disease Control, that's right, guys, the CDC, actually classified it as a powerhouse vegetable. Well, this is great news. Why? Because, well, if it's good enough for the CDC, then I guess it's good enough for me, right? So there we have it, guys. A little bit of background information about the one and only watercress. All right, more background information. Watercress is a perennial vegetable that grows naturally along running waterways, thriving in both the sun and water. Take a look at the picture. Looks nice, doesn't it? This leafy green does especially well in varying soil conditions as long as the soils stay saturated with water. So, ladies and gentlemen, we now know that in order to grow watercress, it must have access to moving water, not stagnant water. Okay? So, there we have it, a little bit of background information about the one and only watercress. All right, now it's time for a few fun facts. Let's talk about the history of this powerhouse vegetable. So, watercress has a history. Interesting. Hippocrates was known to locate his first hospital near a stream where watercress grows best so that his patients could be treated with it. Wow, how advanced was Hippocrates to actually create a hospital that's located near plants, right? And of course, running water. Greek soldiers were given watercress as a blood cleansing tonic before going into battle. Interesting. So, ladies and gentlemen, the CDC knows how important watercress is. Hippocrates, one of our ancient physicians, knows how important watercress is. And also Greek soldiers knew how important watercress is. So, ladies and gentlemen, if it's good enough for Greek soldiers, if it's good enough for the CDC, and if it's good enough for Hippocrates, then yes, it is by far good enough for us. So there we have it, a few fun facts about the one and only watercress. All right, more fun facts. In the 1800s, watercress sandwiches were a staple in the diets of the working class. Wow, who knew? It was most often eaten for breakfast as a watercress sandwich in Hampshire and Dorset in the United Kingdom, mostly because it was easily accessible and could be picked free from rivers and streams where it grew wild. If people were too poor to buy bread for their sandwiches, they ate it on its own, making it known as the poor man's bread. Wow. Now, for those of us that are wondering, what in the world does a watercress sandwich look like? Well, take a look at the picture. As you can see, we have 2 slices of bread, and the only thing that's in between that bread is good old watercress. So there we have it, guys. More fun facts about the one and only watercress. All right, more fun facts. Traditionally grown watercress is green and has a distinctive peppery mustard-like flavor. It became known as the commercial crop in England around 1808, favored for both its flavor and nutrient density. In 1865, The Georgian town of Arlesford became the center of the watercress industry, and so popular that a railway line named the Watercress Line was established as a route to London. Interesting. Now, for those of us that are wondering, what in the world does the Watercress Line Railway look like? Well, guys, take a look at the picture. It's green of all colors. So there we have it. A few more fun facts about the one and only watercress. All right, now it's time for the not so fun facts. Here's the information. Guys, listen up. It's important to wash thoroughly before cooking or consuming because it may contain harmful parasites and pathogens due to its growth in nearby stagnant waters. Now, guys, earlier in the lecture, we did say that watercress it has to have access to running water, right? And of course, sunlight. But as you can see here, sometimes waters get a little stagnant. That's right. So in that case, you could have the presence of parasites. You could have the presence of pathogens that once enter your body can do a lot of harm. So keep it clean. That's right, guys. So the next time you're in the farmer's market or your local grocery store, please, please, please be sure to wash thoroughly your watercress before you actually consume it. All right, more not so fun facts. Cruciferous vegetables are classified as goitrogens, which are compounds that can interfere with the production of thyroid hormones when consumed in high amounts. While most research indicates that these vegetables can be enjoyed as part of a healthy diet by those with thyroid issues, it's best to keep your intake in moderation to reduce the risk of adverse effects on health. That's right. Now, for those of us that are wondering what in the world is a goiter, well, guys, it's actually the result of thyroid malfunction. That's right, guys. So when the thyroid doesn't receive its proper nutrients, well, it actually swells, and that results in an enlarged, inflamed, hypofunctioning thyroid. And so it's nicknamed a goiter. That's right. Now, of course, we don't want to generalize and say that everybody who has an enlarged lump in their throat has a goiter, but you never know. It could be true. So there we have it, guys. A few more not so fun facts about the one and only watercress. Okay, more not so fun facts. Although watercress is generally well tolerated by most healthy adults, it may trigger side effects like stomach pain, gas, and bloating in some people. Well, take a look at that picture. If you experience any adverse side effects, consider decreasing your intake and consulting with your doctor if symptoms persist. Now, if you've been following me for a while, ladies and gentlemen, you know that I am all about eating more plants. If, however, after you consume certain plants, if you don't feel well, or maybe you experience an allergic reaction, it's always best to either reduce it or completely eliminate it, or go talk to your doctor. So, if you experience stomach pain, gas, or bloating after consuming watercress, then you may want to reduce the amount that you're eating per sitting. You may want to eliminate it, or you may want to talk to your healthcare professional. So there we have it. A few more not so fun facts about the one and only watercress. All right, it's time to dive into the 520 rule. Ladies and gentlemen, 23% Nation, the 520 rule is all about food labels. That's right. It helps us to learn and understand how to read a food label. Ultimately, it's a guide. It's a guide that lets us know whether or not a food or beverage item is a good source or not a good source of any particular nutrient. Now, specifically, when we talk about the 520 rule, we're really talking about percent daily value, abbreviated percent DV. So what I like to do now is talk about our sample food label. Why? Because I want to give you much more information about percent DV. Now, our sample food label is divided into three main parts: purple, yellow, and blue. So at this time, let's go part by part by part. First up is the percent daily value column. Now, as you can see, percent DV is basically represented as a percentage. It's a scale, with the low end being 0% and the high end being 100%. Now, there are some very rare cases where percent DV for a particular nutrient can exceed 100%, but as I stated, that is rare. Now, let's switch over to the yellow portion. The yellow portion does a really good job at highlighting those nutrients which unfortunately can do the body a lot of harm. More specifically, they promote sickness, illness, and disease. That's why it says limit these nutrients. So the next time you eat or drink something, please watch out for the saturated fat, trans fat, cholesterol, and sodium. As I just mentioned, those nutrients do a really good job at promoting sickness, illness, and disease. So the next time you eat or drink something, you probably want to make sure that those nutrients have percent DVs that are very, very close to 0%. Next up, let's move forward to the blue nutrients. Say hello to dietary fiber, vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron. These nutrients do just the opposite of the yellow nutrients. Rather than promote sickness, illness, and disease, they promote wellness and health within the body temple. That's why it says get enough of these nutrients. So the next time you eat or drink something, you definitely want to make sure that the percent DVs for those blue nutrients are as close to 100% as possible. Now, when we talk about the 520 rule, we can be general or we can be specific. For the sake of this lecture, I'm going to do both. For those of us who prefer generalities, the 520 rule can be broken down by a quick guide. 5% or less is low, 20% or more is high. Now, let's be a little more specific. If a food or beverage item offers anywhere from 0% to 9% DV, then that food or beverage item is not a good source of that particular nutrient. If, however, a food or beverage item offers 10% to 19% DV of any nutrient, then that food or beverage item is considered a good source of that particular nutrient. Lastly, if a food or beverage item offers 20% DV or greater, then that food or beverage item is considered an excellent source of that particular nutrient. So there we have it, the ins and outs about the 520 rule. All right, now that we've covered the 520 rule, I believe we can talk about the nutrition facts. In other words, when I eat watercress, what nutrients am I putting inside of my body, right? So for today's lecture, we're going to say that a single serving of good old watercress is only 1 cup. That's right, guys, 1 cup, okay? Now, in this single serving, we're only going to get 4 calories. That's it, right? Next up, 0.4 grams of carbs. Now, the reason why I highlight this is for those people who prefer to be on a keto diet, ketogenic diet, low carb diet. It's all the same, right? I mean, a ketogenic diet is basically a diet where your carbohydrate intake is anywhere from 20 to 50 grams max. Now, being that a single serving of watercress only offers 0.4 grams of carbs, watercress is undoubtedly a preferred source of carbohydrates for any type of low carb or ketogenic diet. Next up, it offers 0.8 grams of protein. Yes, and most people think that vegetables or in general plant foods don't contain protein. Well, guys, it does. Now, yes, it may be small, but remember, this is based on a single serving. Now, what's the importance of protein? Well, number one, it helps to strengthen your immune system. Number 2, it helps to grow hair, right? And number 3, it also helps to synthesize good old lean mean muscle tissue. Next, it offers 0.2 grams of good old fiber. If you've been following Coach D for a while, you already know that Coach D likes to refer to fiber as nature's plumber. What does that mean? Well, guys, fiber helps to keep your arteries free of excess plaques and cholesterol, and it also does a really good job of keeping your colon healthy. That's right, by helping the body eliminate unwanted toxins and excess waste. That's right. Next up, vitamin K comes in at a whopping 106% DV. Now, in the previous slide, I did say that there are rare cases where percent DV exceeds 100%. Well, guys, here is the example, right? So ultimately, this means that a single cup of watercress is an excellent source of vitamin K. Next up, vitamin C coming in at 24% DV. Great, excellent source. Vitamin A, 22% DV. Excellent source. Calcium coming in at 4% DV. Not a good source. And lastly is manganese coming in at only 4% DV. Not a good source. So there we have it, guys. Your nutrition facts about the one and only watercress. All right. Now it's time to dive into the health benefits. But before we do, I want to offer you this. Ladies and gentlemen, 23% Nation, it's time to talk about the principle of cause and effect, which basically states every cause has its effect and every effect has its cause. There really is no such thing as chance and or luck. In other words, everything happens for a reason. That being said, I want to let you know that technically the health benefit is the effect versus the causes, which are the phytonutrients that are in the watercress plant, right? Now, some people may also say that phytonutrients are medicines, right? And I most certainly agree with that statement. So not only am I going to give you the health benefit, but I'm also going to give you the cause. So let's get started. Number 1, watercress may help reduce the risk of colon cancer. Amazing, right? Now the question is, how does it do that, or why does it do that? Well, guys, it's rich in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, yet very low in calories, fats, carbs, sodium, and it also contains isothiocyanates. Perfect. Health benefit number 2, protects against heart disease. Now that's something, right? So what's the cause? What's the medicine? What's the phytonutrient? Well, watercress has omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, mainly in the form of alpha-linolenic acid, also known as ALA. Health benefit number 3, provides beneficial anti-inflammatory effects. Nice. So, what's the cause? Antiviral and antibacterial properties, and also antioxidants. Health benefit number 4, it lowers your blood pressure. How nice is that? So, what's the cause? What are the phytonutrients responsible? Well, say hello to calcium, magnesium, and potassium. Health benefit number 5, supports healthy skin, hair, and nails. Perfect. What's the medicines? Well, say hello to calcium, magnesium, potassium, and let's not forget, it has a high water content, hence the name watercress. And health benefit number 6 is that it strengthens bones and teeth. So, what's the phytonutrients responsible? Say hello to calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K. So there we have it. 6 amazing health benefits from the one and only watercress. All right, now it's time to talk about food, but in particular, plant foods. Now, guys, normally my go-to website for everything vegan is forksoverknives.com, but for today, I thought I'd switch it up just a little bit and introduce you to a brand new website entitled watercress.co, right? So guys, I went to the website, did a little bit of research, and I found two amazing vegan watercress recipes that I want to share with you right now. So the first one is entitled Mushroom, Potato, and Watercress Pie. Take a look at that picture. Looks delish. The second recipe is Portobello Mushroom Wellingtons. Wow, take a look at that picture. Looks delish. Yes. Now, if you're like me and your mouth is watering, then all you have to do is click on the description box. Why? Because I am providing you with a direct link to both of these recipes. Now, when you get to the website, watercress.co, you're going to find a lot of great information. Pictures, maybe a video, an ingredient list, and of course, cooking instructions. So, do me a favor. Click on the description box, click on the link, make the dish, taste the dish, come back to the video and share your thoughts. So there we have it, guys. Not one, but two amazingly delicious looking watercress vegan recipes from watercress.co. All right, 23% Nation, I hear you. A lot of you say, well, Coach D, thanks for the fun facts, thanks for the nutrition facts, and even the not so fun facts. But what I really want to know is, Coach D, when should I eat more watercress? Well, guys, if that's your question, then I got to tell you that the perfect day is Nature Day. What? Nature Day? Oh, yes, good old Nature Day. Ladies and gentlemen, Nature Day happens to be the first day of the 23% challenge. Now, I get it. I understand. A lot of us have been living under a rock. A lot of us have been locked down. Why? Because you're in quarantine. And so maybe, just maybe, you've never heard of the 23% challenge. Well, in a nutshell, here we go. The 23% challenge is a monthly 7-day wellness program that is designed to help improve your health, your wealth, your relationships, and it also helps to save good old planet Earth. That's right, in only 7 days. Now, there are two things that we need to remember about the challenge. Number one, it's monthly, meaning every month, January through December. And number two, it's only 7 days long. As a matter of fact, it's the first 7 days of every single month. That's right, guys, the 1st through the 7th. And that's it. Okay? So here's what we need to know, is that Nature Day is the first day of the challenge. And remember something, the challenge is the first 7 days of every month. So that simply means that the first day of every month is Nature Day. That's right. So whether it's July 1st, August 1st, or September 1st, it's always Nature Day. All right. Now, a lot of people may want to know, all right, Coach D, I understand Nature Day, right? But what is it really all about? I want to know. I have an inquiring mind. Well, guys, if this is your question, then here's how I will address it. Nature Day is all about eating more plants. Now, some people find it easy to eat more plants. Other people find it difficult to eat more plants. Either way, I get it. I understand. So I'm making allowances for both parties. First, let me address those of us who think it's rather difficult to eat more plants, right? Well, how about we take the first 12 hours of the day, right, before 12 p.m. That way you eat only plant foods, and by the way, you're only going to drink water, okay? Now, after 12 p.m., you can eat and drink whatever you want. If before 12 p.m. doesn't work for your schedule, then what about after 12 p.m., right? Eat only plants, drink only water, okay? That way before 12 p.m., you can eat and drink whatever you want. Now, let's talk about the people who think it's easy to eat more plants and drink only water, right? So here's an invitation. Try to become a 3% vegan. Now, that's any person, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only one day out of an entire month. Next up is a 10% vegan. That could be the same person or a different person, doesn't really matter, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 3 days out of an entire month. Next up is a 17% vegan. That's any person, man, woman, or child, who only eats plant foods and drinks only water only 5 days out of an entire month. And lastly is the ultimate 23% vegan. Now, technically, that's what Coach D considers himself to be. So now the question is, what does that mean? What do you eat, Coach D? Well, guys, I only eat from the 5 food groups of plant foods, which happen to be fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices, legumes, meaning beans and peas, nuts and seeds, and let's not forget about whole grains. And yes, I only drink water. So there we have it, guys. We now know exactly what Nature Day is all about. Okay, 23% Nation. I know that you probably now have even more questions, right? I mean, we know what it's about. We know when it is. But a lot of you may still be wondering, well, Coach D, is it for me? Should I participate in Nature Day? Well, guys, let's talk about who Nature Day is for. So maybe, just maybe, you are suffering from the big 4, meaning heart disease, obesity, cancer, diabetes. Maybe you have skin issues such as eczema, psoriasis, blackheads, whiteheads, really bad acne, right? Or maybe you have digestive issues such as Crohn's disease, irritable bowel syndrome, leaky gut syndrome. Maybe you're constipated, maybe you have diarrhea. Or maybe, just maybe, you're dealing with some type of mental issue such as bipolar. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're mad all the time. Maybe you can't concentrate and focus. Or maybe you're just sad all the time. And I understand it. Well, guys, if you're dealing with any physical or mental issues, maybe, just maybe, you're tired of the doctor's visits. Maybe you're tired of the procedures and the surgeries. Maybe, just maybe, you want a natural, holistic approach to your healing. Well, guys, it's easy. Eat more plants. Maybe you're the type of person who wants to change their physique, right? Maybe you want to lose an inch from your hips or from your stomach. Or maybe you just want to build some lean, meat muscle tissue. Great. Well, here's the good news. We do have a vegan lean program, and then we also have a vegan bulk program. Or maybe, just maybe, you like the environment. Maybe you care about Mother Earth. And maybe, just maybe, you're tired of the standard American diet. And so now you want to transition to a whole food plant-based diet. Perfect. Well, guys, Nature Day is definitely for you. So make it easy. Eat more plants. All right. It's time for Coach D's tips. Why am I offering help? Why am I giving advice? It's easy, because I want your Nature Day to be successful. So, tip number 1, go to your local grocery store. And of course, don't just go shop, but here's something rather special. When you get there, you're going to go to one of 3 places, maybe 2, maybe all 3. I don't know. So I'm going to direct you to the produce section. I'm going to direct you to the freezer aisle, and I'm also going to direct you to the canned good aisle. Now, why those places? Well, in the produce section, that's where you're going to find all of your fresh plant foods. In the freezer aisle, you're going to find all of your frozen plant foods. And in the canned good aisle, that's where you're going to find all of your canned plant foods. Now, I know a lot of you are probably wondering, Coach D, which is best, fresh, frozen, or canned? Well, allow me to address that question this way. Number 1 is fresh. Number 2 is frozen. Actually, it's a very close second. And number 3, dead last, is canned plant foods. Now, a lot of you may be wondering, well, Coach D, why did you put canned plant foods in 3rd place, right? Especially when it's the cheapest, right? Well, guys, here's the reason. Whenever you put any food in a can, right? Whether it's an animal product or in this case, a plant food, well, it has to undergo a lot of processing. And during that processing, a lot of the nutrients are completely destroyed. And unfortunately, a lot of toxins are added. So it is quite possible that you may be eating more toxins than you are nutrients. So that's the reason why I put canned foods way behind frozen plant foods and fresh plant foods. Tip number 2, go visit the prepared dishes section of your local grocery store. So when you're done with the produce section, the freezer aisle, and the canned good aisle, I want you to walk over to the prepared dishes section. Now this is where you're going to see a very large glass counter. You're going to see food prepared, and it's going to be sold by weight. And you're also going to see someone standing behind the counter, ready, willing, and able to help you out. Now, when you walk over there, talk to the attendant and ask them, hey, do you guys offer any vegan or plant-based options? And chances are they will say yes. Now, if it's something that you've never seen before, if it's something that you've never tasted before, don't worry, don't stress, don't fret. Ask for a sample. It's free, $99. Now, if you like it, go ahead and purchase maybe half a pound. If, however, you're having people over for a dinner party, or maybe it's time to watch the game, right? Then go ahead, get 2 pounds, 3 pounds, 4 pounds. Why not 5 pounds? Tip number 3, go visit your local farmer's market. Now, the reason why I recommend farmers markets is simply because of this one fact. Farmers markets cater to the non-GMO organic plant food market. That's right. So if you have to have organic this and organic that, non-GMO this and non-GMO that, then I highly recommend you go visit your local farmers market. Also, another excellent thing about farmers markets is that chances are the produce may be cheaper than it is at your local grocery store. Why, you may wonder? Well, here's the fact. Farmers markets cater to local farmers. That's right. Meaning it comes almost literally from your backyard. Well, within your community, probably within your state, maybe even within your county, maybe even within your city, maybe even within your neighborhood. So what that means is that it's less transportation, which simply means cheaper prices. So if you don't know where any farmers markets are, just go to Google and type in farmers markets near me. Tip number 4, go visit and of course eat at your local vegan restaurant. Guys, I love vegan restaurants. Why? Because they do a really good job at hiring vegan chefs who not only know how to cook plant foods so that they retain the majority of their nutrients, but they also know which plant foods to combine to yield the most nutritious, delicious dishes. So there you have it, guys. Go eat at your local vegan restaurant. Now, when you get there, right, make sure you order something with Watercress, and don't forget to tell them, hey, Coach D sent me. And your last tip, tip number 5, is to get a subscription to a vegan meal prep company. That's right. Now, here's why I suggest getting a subscription to a vegan meal prep company. Is because a lot of us complain that we don't have time to cook plant foods, or maybe we just don't know how to cook plant foods. I understand it. So here's what I say. Let someone else do the cooking for you, right? So give them a call, get the subscription. They make the food. They may even deliver the food. You eat the food. Yes, it's just that simple. So there we have it. 5 amazing tips to help make your nature day successful. All right, 23% Nation, it's time for our question of the day. Today is a true-false question, right? So here we go. Watercress is known as the poor man's bread. Interesting. Now, I believe I covered this earlier in the lecture, so hopefully you got it. Please write your answer in the comment box below. Guys, I want to thank you for watching. I definitely want to thank you for listening. As always, let's eat well, feel well, think well, do well, be well. This is your man, Coach D. Now, before I sign out, I got to ask you to please subscribe, share, comment, and like the video, especially if you love Watercress. Also, don't forget to use our 3-word mantra. It's hashtag eat more plants. As stated earlier, my name is Coach D. I'm signing out. Always remember to take care, God bless, and never ever forget that Coach D loves you.